We're going to intro video?
Welcome inside to the second floor of the Duncan Student Center for another edition of Shamrock Sports Christmas edition, coming at you live here. Myself, Ben Rohr, Trey Cotey, McKenna Andrew, excited to take you through what is a bit of a grab bag Shamrock Sports episode this week. Not a football-centric view. We got more of that coming Sunday. But today, we got a lot of different stuff, and I'm really excited about it. We got our Christmas ties on.
Absolutely.
McKenna's got the green, sort of a Grinch green, but unfortunately, that's sort of an apt place to start.
The year McKenna stole Christmas, maybe, but Ben and I are coming with the cheer today. With the Christmas
bringing
ties,
it. Got the I don't know, Rudolph tie or something. But unfortunately, we got to start in sort of a Grinchy place today here, guys, with the women's hoops team taking a tough loss, 69-62, against the Ole Miss Rebels last night. The Irish outshot the Rebels on both field goal percentage and three-point shooting. Still weren't able to come away with the victory. What went wrong, McKenna? Let's start with you. What happened?
Well, I think I do have to embody the Grinch here and be a little negative. This team has no depth. There's a problem that they're only pulling two people off the bench the whole time, and all of their starters are averaging 20-plus minutes throughout the game. When that happens, you're not going to play as well the second half, which is exactly what we saw last night. Ole Miss trailed by as much as 19 points in the second quarter before the comeback. 21 points in the third quarter they scored. Were able to do a decisive 11-2 run there at the end, really blowing Notre Dame out of the water in that second half. Also, looking at the rebound disadvantage, another really big thing Notre Dame struggled with last night. Ole Miss out-rebound Notre Dame 42-27, and the Irish gave up 19 offensive rebounds. Kind of a crazy stat for this women's basketball team. And of course, we saw in the final seconds of that game the ever-present problem of Hannah Hidalgo's attitude. She was ejected in the final seconds after two technical fouls, which, didn't really hurt that much on paper. She was still present for the majority of the game, but it just goes to show there's a lot of frustration and some discipline issues on this Irish team. And honestly, if I was Hidalgo, I would be frustrated too. I'm scoring 28 points for my team. Like, I'm the major scorer by a massive amount. I'm putting in a lot of effort. Like, this team just has to rely on Hidalgo, and that's not the way that Notre Dame women's basketball should be played.
Yeah, Hidalgo with 28. The only other two players for the Irish over double digits were the two off the bench, Cowles and Moore. So definitely depth problems. Trey, though, it's a little bit deeper for you.
Yeah, sure, there are depth problems, and I agree with your point, McKenna, but I think the issues lies more with not even just the bench, but the starting lineup, so to speak. And just for reference, this Notre Dame Fighting Irish team last year only went about 7 or 8 deep for a majority of the season. The difference was when they had their starters out there, it was Olivia Miles, who was an All-American, Sonia Citron, an All-Star in the WNBA this year, Maddie Westfeld, over 1,000-point scorer for this Irish program, and then two players that were transfers in Leah King and Liza Carlin, who were both first-team All-Conference in the Big East and the ACC, respectively, for tournament teams. The difference this year is that the transfers Neil Ivey recruited, Malaya Cowles, who had a decent game last night with 12 points, averaged 8 points a game at Wake Forest last year. Vanessa De Jesus, 3 points per game over Duke for the last 3 seasons. Gisela Sanchez, our starting center, 4 points a game at Kansas State. The transfers, they're not nearly as talented. So, sure, the depth is an issue, and I agree with that. Maybe if these girls were getting some more rest, they'd be performing better. But they're just not quite as talented as they were a season ago, and I really don't know what the solution is.
Yeah, a very talented Irish team petered out in the Sweet 16 last year against TCU. What can we expect from the Irish? How far can they go this year with what seems to be a much weaker lineup?
Yeah, I'm not super confident in how far they go. And to your point, Hidalgo is frustrated, as she should be, because this team really only goes as she does. She is by far the engine. If she has 16 steals and 40 points, maybe they'll beat up on Akron.
Sure.
But I really don't know how they're going to do when it comes to March. Making some good non-conference runs in the tournament, maybe. They play UConn, #1 ranked right now in the country in a couple of months. That's going to be a really telltale sign to see how they can do against the best of the best, because so far, other than the USC victory at home, it has not been pretty against good teams in Ole Miss and then the 40-point loss to Michigan.
Yeah, McKenna, what do you think? Where does this Irish team top out this year?
Well, I think March is certainly going to be an issue, but luckily for the Irish, the ACC has not been very stellar this year so far as a whole. Just yesterday, Duke, who was in the preseason top 25, have severely fallen from grace, pains me to say. They lost to LSU yesterday, 93-77, and they're 3-6 this season. UNC is ranked 11th, but yesterday lost to #2 Texas, 79-64. Again, not another great showing. And Louisville is on top of the league. They're ranked 22nd overall with Wake Forest and Syracuse behind. It's not the typical blue bloods we see of ACC basketball. So I do think that Notre Dame still kind of stands a chance for the rest of this season. I think that come March we might be having a different conversation for how the NCAA tournament is going to play out. But in terms of conference play, I wouldn't count us out just yet.
And to kind of add a little bit less of a damper mood, I think everything here is relative. We're talking about a Notre Dame program that's been consistently in the top 10 the last 2 seasons. So this year I think that they still have the talent. I'm expecting them to go to the tournament, make a run, maybe be a top 6 or 7 seed. Unintentional there. But
it was always going to happen.
I'm just not sure this is going to be the Niall Ivy program that we've seen the last couple of seasons.
For sure. I mean, in a conference where the 22nd team in the country is at the top, that's wide open. So definitely a lot to keep an eye on for this women's hoops team as the year goes on, as the semester flips. We'll be talking about them all the time. But right now, we're going to get up to date on all the things we're not going to talk about with some Friday headlines from David Owens and Zach Wirth. We'll see you in a second.
Thanks, Trey. David Owens here alongside Zach Wirth to present to you this week's Friday headlines. Zach, winter sports season is upon us. Christmas ties are out and a lot of great athletics to unpack up here in South Bend. What do you got for us?
Absolutely, David. And the Notre Dame swim team is already making waves. Sophomore Shane Eckler represents the Fighting Irish as the ACC Swimmer of the Week after his clean sweep at the Miami Invitational. In the 50, 100, and 200-meter freestyle, he immediately qualified for the NCAA championships in all 3 events. Notre Dame hopes to add more names to their podium in their next meet on January 3rd.
And you can't forget about the dive team as well. Both men's and women's placed 7th at the SMU Invite, with senior Grace Courtney leading the pack for the 1-meter event. Overall, an impressive 9 Irish divers make championship cuts.
Speaking of championships, how about the cross-country team's championship performances in their postseason? Over fall break, they earned a competitive NCAA championship race with the men's and women's teams placing 13th and 7th respectively. Prior to that, they both achieved top 5 finishes in the ACC championship, and these runners look to make a quick turnaround for their next season. The Blue Gold Invite is underway in South Bend as we speak, marking the start of a very exciting year for track and field.
You know what else is surrounded by a lot of excitement? This Notre Dame fencing team that's hoping to capture back-to-back national titles. After a pair of wins by the men's and women's team in their November Invitational versus Ohio State, these fighters look to start off the season hot with the USA Junior Olympics starting January 9th.
In other heated news, Fighting Irish football drops to 10th in the college football playoff standings, with the Crimson Tide of Alabama sneaking past the Golden Domers. Currently, Notre Dame is projected to travel down to College Station for a revenge tour against Texas A&M, but playoff hopes are still up in the air depending on multiple conference championship results this upcoming weekend. More on that from McKenna Andrew and Trey Cotey later.
Well, that's going to do it here for Friday Headlines. On the desk, David Owens alongside Zach Wirth. And while the snow keeps pouring down here in South Bend, we've got a flurry of Irish winter sports coming up next. Men's basketball and hockey back on the desk with you guys.
All right, thank you, David. Thank you, Zach. Up to date now with some Friday headlines. But now we switch to the men's side of things. Men's basketball picks up what is arguably the biggest win in Micah Shrewsbury's tenure here at Notre Dame over Missouri on Tuesday night at home. Massive win for the Irish. What went right there? A little more optimistic now this segment here. Get to look at some good things for basketball here on Notre Dame's campus. McKenna, what went right for the Irish?
I think overall this men's hoops team is much better than anyone expected this year. And I think the newcomers are to thank for that. You know, Cole Serta, sophomore, took a big jump with 14 points against Missouri, while freshman Jalen Harrison's impact has really been felt on this Irish squad. I'm pretty optimistic.
Awesome. Trey?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's been a lot of tough non-conference matchups. They lost to the likes of Houston and Kansas. But this Missouri win was absolutely imperative if Notre Dame is going to go on a run and try to be a bubble team come March, which is something that we haven't really been able to discuss with
very
this men's
exciting.
team recently. That might be the ceiling, but that was a big step to get there. And I think most of the credit has to go to head coach Micah Shrewsbury. One, for the recruiting, as you mentioned, McKenna. The newcomers have been fantastic. Cole Serta, Jalen Harrelson, but also in kind of the little intricacies that kind of define who can win some of these tighter matchups.
Right.
And, I'd love to sit up here and, walk you guys through some highlights and everything, but why not just show you? So let's get out here on the mini hoop. We're going to get Ethan and Tyler to join us, and we're going to walk through kind of what happened in the later first half and the second half of that game on Tuesday night where the Irish took down the Tigers of Missouri. So what Missouri did, they started off in man-to-man defense, and that led to the Irish kind of getting off to a really big lead, 10-4 to start, hit a couple big threes. And then Missouri switched stuff up. Coach Dennis Gates said, let's run a 1-3-1 zone. So they're going to have Ethan up here at the top as the 1, 3 in the middle, and there would be someone back there as well to make a 1-3-1. And this really stifled the Irish's offensive game. So ball's over here. Let's say Marcus Burton brings it up the court. What's going to happen is their top 2 is going to come. Marcus Burton has no space. Where can he go? He can go there. He can go here. But nowhere is open in the middle, as the guy from the far side, as Tyler's doing, is taking up that space. So you swing it to the other side. And then what's going to happen is these two, and everyone's going to flip-flop. So then you're going to get the exact same situation with still no space just on the other side. And what would happen there is the Irish would go back and forth and end up taking a step back 3 or drive to the lane and turn the ball over. Not exactly ideal. Here's what happened towards the end of that first half, however, is the Irish kind of figured out how can we beat this 1-3-1, and that's with the corners. So let's say I'm back over here, ball's with you two. Swing the ball, get them moving, and then where's the space? It's going to be in the corner. So these two would come up, ball would be here, and they'd swing it to the corner down here. You got a guy wide open for the 3. If this guy comes over, you'd have an offensive guy cutting, and right there for an easy layup or dunk. And here's what's going to happen there, is that Missouri is going to realize they really can't stick in the 1-3-1 zone. It's just not going to work because the Irish are starting to do super well. So they go back to man-to-man defense. And when it's man-to-man defense, Ben, whose time is it?
That's going to be Marcus Burton.
That's going to be Marcus Burton's time. And we really saw that in the second half here, is Marcus Burton really taking the game over. He finished with 18 points, a little less than his average, but 10 assists. And that's what's noteworthy here. He gets one guy on him, beats him down the lane. Where's the space? Oh, there's a help defender. Kick it to the corner, wide open three-pointer. We saw Cole Serta knock down one of those with about 2 or 3 minutes left. We saw Logan Imes get the exact same situation from the left wing with Burton drawing the defense and kicking it out. And then on that last play of the game where Cole Serta hit the go-ahead 3 with about 10 seconds left, that was Marcus Burton up here at the top drawing a double team, swinging the ball to Serta. It was a lazy rotation from Missouri, and he got that wide open 3. Granted, it was deep, but certified bucket's going to knock that one down. And that's exactly how getting Missouri out of the 1-3-1 zone allowed Marcus Burton to take over, the Irish to play into their strengths and win a really tough matchup against a really good Missouri Tiger team. So a lot of credit to Coach Micah Shrewsbury, and I love looking at these little intricacies, the little X's and O's things that can determine a winner in a tough matchup like that. So huge shout out to Coach Shrewsbury in that one.
Beautiful work, Trey. Little chalk talk on the boards this time. A lot to look forward for this men's Irish team as we flip semesters coming up. But right now, we're going to take a look back at the volleyball season. Payton Dymek has everything volleyball for you right now.
Thank you. I'm Payton Dymek, and I'm freezing out here in front of Purcell Pavilion, and I'm about to give you the last Notre Dame women's volleyball update this season. Volleyball hosted Wake Forest last Saturday in celebration of their seniors, where they won in a 3-1 feat. That puts Notre Dame at 12-16 on the year and 9-11 in the ACC. Now, their 9-11 record is actually double what it was last season, still under the coach Salima Rockwell. Now, Notre Dame had some really great highs this past year. First, sophomore Morgan Gardy really stepped into her captain role and led the team in kills with 497. I'll get into more of her later. Sydney Helmers, the transfer from Texas, also was flung into a new role with the Irish, becoming a 6th-rotation outside hitter, something that she hadn't experienced at the collegiate level just yet. Junior setter Lily Fenton also really stepped up for the Irish, especially when senior setter Harmony Sample was injured. Next season, you can expect to see Fenton and other freshman setter Maya Baker trading between that role. Now let's dive into Morgan Gardy. Like I mentioned earlier, Gardy led the Irish with 497 kills, and her skill level on the court earned her a spot on the All-ACC team going into the postseason. She is not only the Irish player to be on this roster at the moment, but she is the first Irish player to do so since 2020. On top of that, 497 kills is the most kills that any Irish player has ever gotten since 1997, when Christy Peters had that honor before her. On top of that, she set the new program record of 34 kills in a single match earlier this season against Illinois, and she's had 11 matches where she's had over 20 kills, shattering a single season record. Let's talk NCAA bracket. Although Notre Dame did not make the bracket this year, they have played in almost beaten teams who have received the number 1 and number 2 teams in their regions of the bracket. However, if you dive a little bit more into the bracket, you can see that actually the NCAA Division I Women's Volleyball Commission has been called into question. Mizzou and Villanova apparently, and according to a lot of coaches within the entire NCAA and even throughout AVCA with club, believe that they were robbed of their positions within the bracket. On top of that, and I'm not saying that Notre Dame was robbed, however, multiple teams have a very similar record to Notre Dame and have even lost to teams that Notre Dame has beaten throughout their regular season. Again, maybe as an Irish fan, I want Notre Dame in there more than anything, but that's my take with the NCAA bracket and other coaches' takes with the same thing. Although Notre Dame's season may be over, they are already looking forward to welcoming Carla Mercado. Mercado has represented Puerto Rico in the U17 both Pan Am and Norcia Cups, where she has earned both gold and silver for them respectfully. She is a great libero, and I cannot wait to see how she changes the back row defense for the Irish next year. Next up is Isabella Sangha. Sangha is not only committed to play basketball as well for Notre Dame, however, she is the 134th best player in the class of 2026. She's a big middle, and I cannot wait to see her at the net next to Bjork, Langer, Cordes even on the right side as well, just getting those big blocks that we liked from the Irish this past year as well. Lastly, they signed Portia Zelder. Zelder is the 43rd best player in California, and California, respectively, has some of the best volleyball in the nation. I can't wait to see how coaching and mentorship from Grace Langer and Anna Bjork will help her moving into her first season with the Irish. That was your final Notre Dame women's volleyball recap. Thank you so much, Shamrock Sports, for the opportunity to talk about the sport I love at the school I love. I can't wait to come back next year and do just the same thing. Thank you so much, and now back to the desk.
Coming back to you live from the second floor of the Duncan Student Center. Thank you, Payton. I'm Ethan Laslo here with Tyler Reidy, talking some Notre Dame hockey. The Irish are back home at Compton Family Ice Arena this weekend for a showdown with second-ranked Wisconsin, who has looked good so far this season. Tyler, with Big Ten Conference play underway, the Irish and the Badgers have had some vastly different starts.
Yeah, different trajectories here coming into the weekend for Wisconsin and Notre Dame. This is the final weekend of Big Ten Conference play before the holiday break begins, a little bit earlier than typical this season. Starting with Notre Dame, the Irish are off to the 0-6 start in Big Ten play. It's been a tough go generating offense. Under first-year head coach Brock Sheehan within the conference, Notre Dame less than 1.2 goals per game in the first 6 league games. A little bit more promising last week in the out-of-conference road trip against Merrimack and Boston College. Notre Dame scored a combined 8 goals across those 2 games, came from behind to win 5-4 on Wednesday at Merrimack, but fell 5-3 at BC. So offense is going to be the big key for Notre Dame getting back into the conference against a very interesting Wisconsin team. You look at the Badgers, ranked 2nd in the country. It's their 3rd year under Mike Hastings. Year 1 was incredible for Wisconsin. They climbed out of the cellar of the Big Ten to vie with Michigan State for a Big Ten title. Last year, a little bit more of a drop-off as the goaltending took a step back. But now this year, they seem to be back. And boy, what a weekend it was for the Badgers. 2 weeks ago at Michigan State, number 1 team in the country at the time. Wisconsin swept the Spartans at Mount Arena, something you'd think is impossible to do right now with the run Michigan State has been on the last 3.5 years. But Wisconsin got it done. 4-goal second period to come from behind on Friday, and then the overtime winner with Ben Dexheimer, I should say, one of their top defensemen, their best offensive defenseman in the game on Saturday. So Wisconsin has been playing really well. Their offense seems to have taken a big jump forward. It's not all that different of a roster for the Badgers this year, but they've been a more complete team in all regards, and Mike Hastings did a good job turning that program back around. So Notre Dame definitely has the hands full this week.
Yeah, they certainly do. Now, speaking of offense, Tyler, Notre Dame and Wisconsin have both had a lot of their offense shaped by power play success. So going into this matchup this weekend, how does that kind of shape the matchup, and how have they been able to take advantage of their opponents?
Yeah, power play has been massive for both of these teams. Wisconsin leads the nation with a success rate of more than 32% on the power play. Notre Dame's not far behind, third in the country, right behind the Badgers at 30%. And they've both been clicking well in Big Ten play also. That's really been the main source of offense for Notre Dame. Danny Nelson has been a stud as of late on the power play. He has 3 consecutive games with a man advantage goal, including both of the contests last week. He's a skilled player. He can do it in a lot of different areas, whether the deflections in front of net. He scored on a one-timer from the circle against Merrimack last week. And then the guy for Wisconsin's Christian Fitzgerald. He's one of the national leaders with 7 power play goals on the year. There you see what he does. Wisconsin really likes to shoot from the outside with Dexheimer, their defenseman, and Gavin Morrissey at the left circle, and set up both Fitzgerald and Simon Tassi in front for deflections and loose change. And there's Danny Nelson. He can deflect the puck too and also set up that one-timer. So when you look at the two teams, power play is massive. You've got to key on Fitzgerald and bodying him off in front, get physical, clear the net front, make sure Nicholas Kempf, your Irish netminder, has a lane to see through for those outside shots. And stay out of the box as well. It's something we've seen Notre Dame have problems with early in the season when you think back to that Big Ten opener against Michigan where they played well but were in the box for basically a third of the game. The Irish have been better discipline-wise as of late, but Wisconsin has so many offensive threats it can be tough to avoid taking those penalties at 5-on-5. So Notre Dame's got to try and keep themselves at full strength so they can go on the power play and have more of the opportunities for their top power play unit to shine.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a huge matchup this weekend for the Irish. You can catch them in action at Compton Family Ice Arena tonight for Ugly Christmas Sweater Night at 7 o'clock and tomorrow night at 5 o'clock, taking on the Badgers. We're going to kick it over now to Chris Dailey, who's given us a little recap of what went on last Saturday when the senior class got a little rowdy with the marshmallows at the football game. Chris?
This past Saturday at the house that Rockne built, students got themselves into a sticky situation. You see, since 1991, seniors have celebrated the final home game of the season with a unique tradition, tossing marshmallows around the stands. And this year was no different, with marshmallows flying nonstop for all 60 minutes of the Irish's 70-7 rout of Syracuse, leaving bleachers torn up and hours of cleanup behind.
So, obviously we live in northern Indiana, and so it gets cold. Thankfully, it's a great day today with a high of 52. If you can imagine, last year and years past, sometimes it's snowing, and so we're doing this in the snow. Now that we're doing CFP playoff games as well, we used to have a timeline of just power washing and repairing seats in the springtime. Now we're doing both operations at once.
However, it's not just hours of power washing that must be done to permanently remove the sticky marshmallows from the stadium.
We also have to snake the drains as a drain. It's an older stadium. It's a 1930 stadium with a 1997 addition. We've had update the drainage, but if you can imagine this going down a drain and solidifying during the wintertime, that's a problem.
Silvio also emphasized this isn't just a football season issue. It's one that extends well into the springtime.
In the springtime, we'll renumber the seats so people can find their numbers again, because we host concerts, right? We have Luke Combs coming up in April. That will be the first event before any football event. If you are buying a ticket, Aaron, and you're in section 29, right now you can't find your seat, right? And so we have to prepare for all of these things happening in terms of cleanup and repair.
For the students, however, it's not about the mess. It's about a once-in-a-lifetime tradition that they will never forget.
What do you have here? I got a piece of history right here. Because of the marshmallows, this bad boy came off the bleachers, so I decided to grab it.
Is that just all marshmallow right here?
I do believe so. I think it's just marshmallow.
And final question, what are your plans to do with this? Just hang it up?
Frame it and post it on the wall. It's a lot of fun. It's a great tradition. Lower rows kind of look like a war zone today, but shoes are sticky. Everyone's having a good time. Big Notre Dame win. This is a jumbo marshmallow. Now, it may not look like much, but when located in the senior section, this bad boy can do some damage. Now, it tears up benches, it tears up shoes. You are sticking and stomping all night long, all 4 quarters. But, hey, great senior tradition overall.
All the students seem to love the ruckus this tradition creates. They loved every bit of chaos. But maybe, just maybe, they would think about it differently if they saw what Notre Dame Stadium looked like 48 hours later. Here's one final look. I'm just walking down the stairs right now. I mean, this is bizarre. Of course, it's always going to be mess after a game, yeah, but the stickiness of it, it's unlike anything I've ever seen. After going inside the stadium and talking to the folks who are cleaning up this mess, I think it's time to say, out with the marshmallows. Yep, throw them out of here and in with nothing new. This is a tradition that really isn't too important in the grand scheme of things and should probably stop. Reporting from Notre Dame Stadium, Chris Dailey, NDTV.
Thank you, Ben. My name is Leo Romano alongside Kirra Halfman. It's championship weekend in college football, a weekend in which the top 2 teams in each conference will battle it out on the gridiron to make one last impression in front of the College Football Playoff Committee ahead of Selection Sunday in what will be the second year of the 12-team playoff. Notre Dame, on the other hand, our Fighting Irish, are notoriously idle this weekend. Last year, that was okay. Notre Dame was comfortably into the playoffs. This year, however, Marcus Freeman and the 10th-ranked Fighting Irish don't have much room to breathe. They may sit at number 10, but their fate is no longer in their hands. But first, let's talk about probably the least anticipated top 2 matchup in recent history as the last 2 undefeated teams in college football, Ohio State and Indiana, square off at Lucas Oil Stadium. Kirra, tell us a little bit about that game.
Absolutely, yeah. The really only anticipation lying behind this match is just more clarity on who the front runner for the Heisman will be. Julian Sayin and Fernando Mendoza are going to be battling it out down in Indy this weekend. Ohio State is obviously a very talented team looking for back-to-back championships. Their defense has been solid and dominant all season long. Their running game has been flying a little bit under the radar at the hands of Bo Jackson, their true freshman running back, doing an outstanding job for the Buckeyes. Moving things over to Indiana, their well-coached Cignetti's on his vengeance tour, looking to push Indiana deeper into the playoffs this year. But other than that, there's not too much exciting things going on in Indy this weekend.
Yeah, Curt Cignetti definitely making an impression in Bloomington, where they are blooming a ton. Let's move on to the ACC Championship. This will be the first of 3 rematches. This one between number 17 Virginia and 7-5 Duke. But last time these 2 teams played, the game was over after 3 quarters. Virginia was up 31-3. Is there anything that Duke can do differently for the Blue Devils to pull off an upset?
Absolutely. I'm looking at Duke to capitalize on their turnovers last time they played Virginia. They forced 2 turnovers. So if they can, just get a little bit stronger, get a little bit smarter, they should be in good hands. But if Duke wins, does the ACC get left completely out of the ACC CFP? It's
a very interesting point you bring up, Kirra, because the college football playoff wasn't meant to leave out a Power 4 conference. It was designed for each of those teams to get an auto bid. If Duke wins, though, they're not going to get that auto bid. It then comes down to comparing the resumes of Notre Dame and Miami, but it would be hard to leave out the ACC entirely. From the ACC over to the SEC, another rematch, shocker. It's between Georgia and Alabama. The Roll Tide won that game in Athens in Week 5, 24-21, and Kirby Smart is just straight up bad against Alabama. 1-7, 0-3 in these SEC championship games. What do you expect from that game, and what does it mean for Notre Dame?
Well, it's not so much what I expect, but it's more of what I want. I want Kirby to get smart and take those dogs, or take the Tide for a walk, right? I mean, Notre Dame should jump Bama. If Bama loses, they'd be a 10-3 team, and there's just no reason for a team like that to be in playoff contention over Notre Dame.
Absolutely. It is hard, though, to punish a team for playing in their conference championship, something the committee has spoken to a few times, but I can't imagine Notre Dame not getting the nod ahead of them. The most important game on the weekend, though, for Notre Dame is the Big 12 championship. Texas Tech and BYU. Now, Texas Tech beat BYU 29-7 on November 8th. College game day was there. It was a blowout. What can you expect from this game? And tell us just how much this means for Notre Dame, Kirra.
Yeah, absolutely. There are huge implications for the Irish in this Big 12 championship. Now, looking at their last matchup, Tech had 7 scoring drives against BYU. 5 of those were field goals. So we need BYU to put up a better fight, but they still need to lose. I don't know. This is a huge matchup. Lots of questions surrounding this matchup, and it's just going to be a good one to watch for sure.
You can't imagine Notre Dame gets in with a BYU win because Texas Tech would still be ahead of the Fighting Irish in that situation. Now, we have to talk about the group of 5 very briefly here, right? If Duke wins, as we said earlier, there's a chance that 2 Group of 5 teams get in. Not a chance, it's very likely that 2 Group of 5 teams get in. It would probably be James Madison, who's 23.5-point favorites against Troy, and it would be the winner of the AAC championship between 24 North Texas and 20th ranked Tulane. Now, if Troy does lose to James Madison and Duke still beats Virginia, we're talking about other teams getting into the mix. Potentially Boise State if they win the Mountain West, which would be huge for Notre Dame's strength of schedule.
Absolutely.
And I can't be reading this right, but Kennesaw State? If we're living in a world where Kennesaw State has a better chance of getting into the playoff than Miami at 10-2, then we have some problems, don't we?
Yeah, lots of problems, lots of questions. This whole weekend is going to answer questions, all the questions leading up to it. It's probably going to leave us with more questions coming out of it, but, I mean, we'll see.
Absolutely. Now, before we go, Kirra, is Notre Dame in or out?
For the love of God, I hope we're in.
I hope we're in too, but time will tell. Right now, it's out of the hands of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and it's into the hands of Texas Tech. Wreck 'em.
Thank you, Leo. Thank you, Kirra. We're going to keep talking football out here, but we're not going to talk much about the Irish. We're going to leave that for Sunday. We're going to talk conference championships now. Big games, huge games for both the Irish and just obviously college football landscape with Selection Sunday just a few days away. Let's start with some picks. Let's start with the Big Ten. Ohio State, Indiana. I'm going to go with Ohio State. I think, let's see what my number was here. 35-24. I believe in Ohio State. I mean, that was a huge victory for Ryan Day in this program against Michigan last weekend. This team seems to be about as unstoppable as they were last year. I mean, even beating Michigan. Yeah. So I'll play it safe. I'll take the Buckeyes. Give me Ryan Day and the Buckeyes, as much as it pains me to say.
I'm going to agree with you on the Buckeyes there. A little bit lower scoring. Okay. Give me OSU 24-21. I think that this is a matchup that we may potentially see again this year in the college football playoff. Wow. 1 and 2 teams. Indiana is much better than last year. They proved it against Oregon earlier this season. I mean, Irish fans, we all remember the playoff game last year. We beat Indiana pretty well. I don't know if they're that same team last year. They seem to be playing much better. I think it is going to be a close game, but Ohio State's Ohio State. Ryan Day is Ryan Day. As much as it pains me to admit it, I think the Buckeyes got this one.
Trey, are the Hoosiers playing spoiler, or are you sticking with the status quo?
We'll go 3 for 3. Give me the Buckeyes 31-17. I agree with you, McKenna. I think Indiana's a better football team this year than last year by a fairly significant margin. I kind of also think Ohio State might be too, unfortunately. Yeah. So 31-17, I think they're going to take care of business. That Michigan game last week, I mean, they might be unbeatable. I don't know if they'll have a close game the entire season.
With them healthy, it's dangerous. Let's move down south. Let's go to the SEC. Alabama, Georgia. Big one for Notre Dame. Alabama jumps Notre Dame in the poll this week. Really, really concerning for a lot of Irish fans. But what do we think happens here in this game? I'm going to go with Alabama just sort of as a doomsday thing for Notre Dame. I think, obviously they got jumped, so the buffer's there already. But I think it's just one that Alabama comes away with. I got a close game. I got 21-17. But it's just one that it's just that SEC, they beat each other and sort of dog-eat-dog thing that I think Alabama comes away with this one. McKenna?
After watching the Iron Bowl last weekend, Alabama-Auburn, give me the Tide. I hate to admit it. I think they played amazing. I have Alabama winning 17-10. Bama beat Georgia once. I think that they will beat them again. And Alabama has had a bit of a rocky season. They stumbled at Oklahoma, a few other games. But they can always get it done for the conference championship. And I think we're just going to see that traditional Roll Tide atmosphere on Saturday.
All right.
I don't know if amazing is the word I would use. A win's
a
win. A win's a win.
That Auburn guy holds on to the football. Who knows what happens?
Exactly. But I mean, rivalry game, anything can happen. Getting it done on the road, I mean, that's a big victory,
for sure.
Especially with your season seemingly on the line there.
For sure.
But you know what's one of the hardest things to do in college football?
Tell me.
Beat a team twice. Yeah. So give me Georgia. I got Georgia in this one, 27-24. It's going to be, this I believe will be the game of the weekend.
Absolutely.
Going to be very tight, SEC loud environment as always. But the Bulldogs are playing about as good as anyone in the country. I think if there's anyone that could take down the Buckeyes later on, it's going to be Georgia. So give me them by a field goal in a tight one.
Georgia looking excellent. But now let's go to the one with all Irish fans have circled on the calendar. Big 12, BYU, Texas Tech. If BYU wins, Notre Dame pretty much done for sure. So this is a huge one. And even if BYU loses, obviously, we'll talk about it more on Sunday, but could be some movement there the Irish fans don't like. So this is the game. I'm going to go with Texas Tech. I think this Texas Tech team is really good. They beat BYU once. I think they'll do it again, and I think they will do it comfortably. 38-14, I think this BYU team gets exposed for, just not being able to keep up with these top programs right now, and I think Tech is good. McKenna?
I agree. BYU is not going to win.
I think we can all. I like it.
I think we can all calm
3 for 3.
down.
We got some collusion over here.
Yeah,
I think
we got some parlays going. Okay.
But I think the Irish fans can calm down. I think Texas Tech is going to get it done.
Okay.
Pretty handedly. Also, I have 28-17, a little bit closer.
Sure.
But yeah.
Yeah. Trey.
Roll Red Raiders.
No, Texas Tech is a much better football team than BYU.
Right.
They're 12.5
So
point
certainly-
favorites. Jacob Rodriguez is
You think they'll
awesome.
win?
Who am I to doubt the power of Crumble Cookie? Kalani Sitake sticking around. The boys are feeling good, and it's doomsday for the Irish. Maybe I'm just trying to be a little bit of a Jake Irons here. Give me BYU 21-17. There's nothing in my brain telling me it's going to happen other than it's championship Saturday, man, and anything that's not supposed to happen can and will. So I think Sitake's boys are going to get it done, and the season's going to end for Notre Dame and Miami the same.
Quarterback wearing 47, trying to get into the playoff. Just absurd things.
Not something I think I'd ever see, but here we are.
But here we are, and we're going to take a quick break.
Before we end,
I'm sorry.
Off script here.
I would be remiss to not mention the other Power 4 championship happening this week.
Right.
ACC, we got Virginia versus Duke. How a 7-5 team makes the conference championship, I have no idea. But give me the Blue Devils. I'm going to live in delusion. I'm going to think they're going to make the college football playoff. Duke fan since birth. I might be just as happy as Duke makes it as if Notre Dame makes it.
Absurd thing to say.
Everyone else is watching the Ohio State-Indiana game. I will be watching from Charlotte, North Carolina. Give me the Blue Devils over the Cavs.
All right.
I'll take the Cavs.
Yeah, I'll give Virginia. They'll get smoked in the first round.
Yep, there you go.
Anyway, so we're going to take a quick break here on Shamrock Sports. A little sunrise ad, but then we come back and we talk about sports entertainment for the first time ever on Shamrock Sports. We'll see you in a second.
Hey Irish, if you want to hear the news from campus this week, watch some exciting segments, or learn about this coming weekend's campus events, make sure to tune in to ND Sunrise, which airs every Friday morning at 9 a.m. on the NDTV YouTube channel.
Welcome back. All right, guys. So for what we think is the first time ever on Shamrock Sports, we're going to be talking about some WWE World Wrestling Entertainment.
All right.
John Cena, the man you can't see, his final match will be December 13th at Saturday night's main event in Washington, D.C. And WWE laid out a big tournament, sort of a March Madness style tournament, called the Last Time Is Now tournament, to decide his final opponent. And the finals are on Monday. In the semifinals, we had Gunther defeat Solo Sikoa, and LA Knight beat Jey Uso in sort of an upset with a quick roll-up there. So the final is LA Knight versus Gunther. I know who I think is going to win, but I'm intrigued to see what you guys say. Go ahead and give me the Ring General, Gunther, to take out LA Knight. He retired Goldberg in the spring. I think he does it again with Cena here. I mean, it's got to be the only way. I think they're trying to make Gunther seem like an absolute force, the legend killer sort of thing. So give me Gunther on Monday. What do you guys think here?
Personally, I'm picking LA Knight.
Whoa.
I think the up-and-comer's going to do it.
Wow.
Okay.
Gunther, I think, can take a step back. I know WWE is trying to get some new faces in there. I think they're going to be able to do it with LA Knight. His little eyebrow thing.
Okay, yeah, sure,
I'm
sure.
trying to do it.
We saw it.
Yeah, and then from like a purely physical standpoint, I think LA Knight is a pretty even match for Gunther. Their fighting styles are really similar. I've seen Gunther fight live, and I think that LA Knight's going to get it done.
I'm going to second that. Give me LA Knight. L.A. Knight. Yeah! He's getting it done. Newcomer Triple H has been on him for years, and it doesn't matter. LA Knight can cut a promo like no one's business.
Sure.
Gunther can't do it. Gunther's fine in the ring. Give me LA Knight. He's physical. He's getting on him, pounding him. Let's go.
Absolutely.
And you know, Triple H wants Gunther. He really does.
He does.
But he knows that people are going to be
Corporate.
saying, let's do it one more time. L.A. Knight. Yeah! Give me LA Knight going coast to D.C. to take down the main man, Gunther. Let's go.
Wow.
Give it to me. Inject it in my veins.
Well, so we have the stage is set. I think it's Cena Gunther. You guys think it's Cena LA Knight. And now the question becomes, who wins? The guy you picked or John Cena in his final match? Does John Cena go out on his back, putting over the new talent, the young stars, not so young, but the stars? Or does he take the glory for himself and go out standing tall in DC? He's opening the show. Does he win? I'm going to pick first. I'm going to pick first. Give me Gunther. Give me Gunther. This man, he comes from Austria, right? He comes from Vienna, Austria. He's got his robe. He's got his classical music. He tells you all exactly what he's about. The minute you see him, you hear the music. You see, where's my camera? Give me my camera. Gunther gets in the ring, and there's no one that can compete with this man. Little power bomb, little sleeper hold. You can't do it, and neither can John Cena. I don't care if you can see him. I can pick him up, and I can slam him down into the mat. And that's exactly what's going to happen on Saturday night's main event, December 13th in Washington, D.C. Give me the ring general. Gunther. McKenna, talk to him.
John Cena is one of the greatest of this sport.
Okay.
I grew up watching him.
Sure.
I grew up wearing that "You Can't See Me." John Cena's not gonna lose his final match. Like,
wow.
Sorry. Sorry. I think I've seen this film before. Give me John Cena.
Super Cena.
My thought before the show today was, how can you beat something you can't see? You can't. He's here. Oh, he's gone. You don't know where he's at. Where is he? You don't know him. You don't know. He's back. He's back. He's back. And he's in your face.
Yeah.
That's what John Cena does.
Yeah.
But you know what he can't handle? L.A. Knight.
Yeah. You're spamming that.
Third time's the charm. It's fun. It's so fun. If you haven't done it, you should do it. Give me L.A. Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah. John Cena, you're old. He's washed. I can see you, bud. Time's up. Get out of here.
So McKenna believes in Cena.
I'm going to let him have his moment.
The GOAT, to get the win.
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, we take the new guys, and we'll see what happens December 13th. Trey, do you want to hit him one more time?
No.
Okay.
No,
never mind.
I feel like 3 was enough.
That was maybe too many. But
probably.
Anyways, very fun. We'll see what happens Saturday night's main event. But thank you, McKenna. Thank you, Trey. Thank you, Ethan, Tyler, Kirra, so many people on this show today, all the people behind the scenes who make it happen. Thank you so much for joining us here on Shamrock Sports. So we got the playoff show coming at you Sunday, right after the picks are in for the playoff. So be sure to tune into that. But for now, from the second floor of the Duncan Student Center, we're saying goodbye. Have a great weekend, and go Irish.
I'm still hot, knock your shell off. My money stacked fat, plus I can't turn the swell off. The franchise doing big business, I live this, it's automatic. I win this, so you hear those horns, you finished. A soldier, and I stay under you fighting. Plus I'm storming on you chumps like I'm thunder and lightning. Ain't no way you breaking me, kid, I'm harder than nails. Plus I keep it on lock like I'm part of the jail. I'm slaughtering stale competition. I got the whole block wishing they could run with my division, but they gone fishing with no bait. Kid, your boy, hold weight. I got my soul straight. I brush your mouth like Colgate. In any weather, I'm never better. Your boy's so hot, you never catch me in the next man's sweater. If they hate, let them hate. I drop your